You hear that?
Yeah.
How old's the article?
A day old. It just says a day, so I'm guessing it was published yesterday.
Got the relevant news. You found it?
Yeah, it's a BBC article, and it's just talking about an issue that has been going on for ages, but was recently resolved, and it's talking about Saudi Arabia and Thailand ending a dispute over some diamonds that were stolen not diamonds, just jewels stolen over 30 years ago by
It was a clean.
they were stolen by a cleaner that worked for one of the princes, and after that, basically, they stopped cooperating on a lot of things, and like a lot of Thai people who would have been able to work there couldn't, but now they've changed that.
Yeah, well, they think it was a cleaner working for one of the Saudi princes, right? And the cleaner just nicked these jewels, resold them on like the sort of black market in Thailand, not realizing how much they're worth. They eventually recovered them and thought they were like $20 million or something. But they reckon it cost billions of dollars in trade loss because the Saudis didn't want to work with the Thai. Again, they didn't want to do any trade with them, and they reckon, was it 300,000 workers lost their jobs or something, or tens of thousands?
Yeah, it's like around 300,000 that would have worked there.
Thing is, though, is it Saudi Arabia where if you're caught stealing, they can chop your hands off?
Yeah, that's the punishment. But they said that when the Thai police returned some of the jewels, the Saudis said most of them were fake. But I'm not sure how true that is. It doesn't actually say. But only two people, only the cleaner and a police officer were the only people that actually went to prison because of this. But loads of people were shot, and
people were shot.
Three Saudi diplomats in Thailand were shot dead.
Oh, wow.
And an investigator that was sent to track the jewels down disappeared, and two Thais linked to the crime also died in suspicious circumstances.
To who?
So it just says two Thais linked to the crime also died in suspicious circumstances.
Oh, wow. So they were just taking out hits on each other,
Basically, yeah. But now they've ended it. I think there's probably a lot more to this story because I'm not sure why after 30 years they just decided to do it. So
for sure.
They obviously obviously realized it was just pointless, or maybe there's something else that has gone on, but they haven't actually. We don't actually know yet. Maybe in like 10 years we'll find out what the actual reason is.
Have you heard about the Koh-i-Noor diamond?
Yeah,
it's in the Queen's crown.
Light.
Yeah, basically, like our monarchy stole it from India a few hundred years ago, and in 2017, I think, the Indians asked for it back, and the British just said no. Guess how much this diamond's worth? And it's the diamond that sat in the top of the Queen's crown.
Well, I'm not sure how much is it worth.
£100 million.
Oh,
a
lot of like recently, or in the last few years, a lot of countries have been demanding back artifacts and stolen goods. But then many of the people arguing for these things, they're told that they're safe in British museums, which could be true, but I don't think it's true for the diamonds, to be fair, because I feel like that could be kept safe in India.
Yeah, of course it could be kept safe.
And no one really
Have
needs a
nuclear
diamond.
weapons. If they have nuclear weapons, they can keep some diamonds safe as
Oh yeah,
well. But no,
and no one.
it's crazy, isn't it? But this thing
And
with
it's kind of
yeah,
different. It is an artifact in a way, but I think it's different to an artifact because it's not. It has some like religious meaning, but it doesn't have as much meaning, I'd say, as like statues or like mummies or things like that have been put in British museums.
yeah. Frankie Boyle had a great piece on it in his stand-up comedy. He was like, "Why are all the best museums in the world in Europe? Because gun beats spear."
Well, yeah, that is true.
Yeah, it's funny. But that's wild, isn't it? And the Queen won't give it back, essentially.
No, it's in the crown jewels.
I
I
mean,
actually saw the crown jewels when I was younger, but I kind of remember it, but
the Tower of London.
yeah, it was in there's like a small window in one of the walls, and you can look in, and it's like in there, I think.
Us peasants can line up and have that.
Well, yeah, but the thing about these crown jewels is, I know they have like ceremonial purpose, but they use them like once every 50 years when or like properly. They use some at like the state opening of Parliament, but they don't use them all, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Some are just there for show.
According to this, the Queen wears her crown once a year.
That's not that. Well, yeah,
That's kind of what you were saying, though.
yeah.
Guess how many diamonds are in it?
I don't know, maybe 100 or 50.
2,860. How much is the Queen's crown worth? How much do you think her crown's worth?
I think it kind of looks good, like when they open Parliament and they have all the robes and different stuff. I think it's good to keep those traditions, but at the same time, if it's all stolen items, then
Got to hand it
they
back.
should rethink it.
At least you can do. Okay, her crown's worth £3.6 million.
Oh, that.
But
Yeah,
do you want to know how much all her jewels are worth in total?
yeah. How much?
$4 billion.
That's the thing, though. They have all these items, but when it comes to actual like their estates and stuff are worth a lot, but if like in terms of actual cash, they have less money than a
Yeah,
lot of
they're
billionaires.
more asset rich. They're more asset rich.
Obviously they're richer than the average person, but they have things, they have access to things. That's the other thing,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah,
makes them richer.
I read somewhere that they're worth a lot more than people think. One sec, let me try.
I think they're worth, like the British royal family are worth the most out of all the royal families.
Here we go. Yeah, they are. This is from the Independent. British royal family is worth more than £60 billion. New report finds. I see. I thought it was. What did I say? Like 50 billion. 160
It's a
billion.
lot.
But
But then a lot of
contributes 1.8 billion to the UK economy every year.
That's not that much, though. If you think of how much like other things contribute and how much the overall wealth is, I don't think it's actually that much. But a lot of people say, oh, we shouldn't get rid of them because people come here because of them. But how many times do you actually see the Queen if you visit, or any of them? You see their like palaces and stuff, but you rarely actually see them, and you see the guards, but apart from that, you rarely get to see the actual people.
No, that's true, but they are actually a net positive to our economy.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
like, we don't pay not that much money like goes to them, like from us.
no, they make money, like they benefit the tax and the treasury. They're not actually too bad. I'm trying to work out.
The only problem is that they can probably get away with more things than the average person.
Maybe. I mean, different laws apply to royals. Yeah, different laws do apply to royals, which is interesting. Like, the Queen has the power to declare war on any country.
Yeah.
Like, that is an insane amount of power. Does our Prime
But
Minister?
she would never.
They have
The
to
thing,
through.
yeah, they have like a lot of these powers, but they never actually, like, they're supposed to be above politics, so they just have to approve certain things. But if she actually did that, then I don't think they'd be around much longer. If they actually use their powers like in the medieval times,
Oh, that's
I
good.
think they'd lose their
Great point.
standing.
Yeah, they'd lose but even if the public turned against them, I mean, what could happen?
Yeah, I doubt there'd be. I couldn't ever imagine there being like a revolution here, like in France.
Yeah, the French are pretty wild people. What was it? What was the I was going to say something about the royal family. What was the thing we were going to talk about the royals? Was it something? I swear there's something else.
No, it was about the Boris Johnson.
Oh yeah, they had to. That's it. Thank you. They had to apologize to the Queen because
because of Prince Philip.
Yeah, the Queen's husband died, and the day she was at his funeral, sat on her own in the entire church, social distancing. The night before, Downing Street were having a party.
Yeah,
that is pretty offensive to the monarchy.
Yeah, and considering that this didn't go down well with a lot of conservatives because most of them are in favor of the monarchy.
I'm in favor of the monarchy.
I can see both sides, but if there was a vote to, like, if we didn't have one, I wouldn't say, oh, I wish we had one. If that makes sense.
No, neither would I.
I feel they're a bit.
I think they help our relationship with other countries now. I mean, they never used to, but they do.
They have soft power.
Yeah, they're soft powers.
And people do like them. Although a lot of countries in the Commonwealth are turning their back on the Queen.
Oh, really? Is the sentiment shifting? Well, who gained?
Well, not a lot of them, but some. I think Barbados recently.
Yeah, was it Barbados or was it Trinidad? Barbados. You sure it was Barbados?
It was. I think it was. Or
No, declared their independence in 1966.
I don't know who it was. There was someone recently.
Yeah. So yeah, no, you're right. I'm just googling it.
I think it is
Guyana. No, it's not Guyana. Do you want to try search? I cannot search it. I can't find it.
Or maybe it was something to do with Prince Charles.
No, Prince Charles apologized.
Maybe it was that then.
But
there was some sort of thing in Barbados with the royal family, like recently. I can't remember. But I think a lot of these places have it just reminds them of colonialism. So it's understandable.
No, I think it was. I think Barbados did gain their independence. Or maybe as a senator.
Yeah, they did.
But basically, he apologized for our appalling history there, which is fair play.
Oh, yeah.
More countries should apologize. The French fucked Haiti.
Yeah. Unfortunately, and I mean, the Dutch did a lot of bad things in Africa, to be fair.
The Dutch was in, which country was it in? Was it Uganda?
And also, I'm not sure.
Okay, here we go.
South?
I'm
not sure. I'm trying to remember where they were.
DRC, Belgium King. I'm trying to Google it. Do you reckon this is a bit long if people are listening to this?
I mean, maybe.
Oh, here we go. Belgium, King Leopold II. And it was in Democratic Republic of the Congo. in the 1800s-ish, and King Leopold II of Belgium basically did what Hitler did, exterminated the local people, and it was 6 million people died.
Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah, the Brit apart from him, yeah, the Germans weren't the first to use concentration camps. It was actually Britain in the Boer War. They actually started this.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
I was going to say, I know the British have done concentration camps before.
They did it in the Boer War, but I think it was on less of a scale than in Europe, than during World War II, but obviously still bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, do you know the thing with Barack Obama? Obama's grandfather was in one of these camp type things. I don't know if it was a concentration camp or not, but he was locked up in Kenya. So Obama's grandfather, and something happened with Obama and I can't remember which prime minister, but they gave the White House like a gift of a bulldog or something, or like gave them this gift to have in the president's room. Yeah, Obama took it back and gave it back to them because.
Oh yeah, that rings a bell. I think I remember something about that.
That's British because of grandfather. No, I can't find it. I can't. But Bob, what's it called? Joe Biden doesn't like Boris Johnson that much, does he? Because
No.
Biden has Irish relations in Irish kind of genes and Irish in his family, and obviously Boris with a hard border between Northern Ireland is causing all those problems.
Yeah, and I think they generally just disagree on things.
One's right wing, one's left wing. But yeah, what did you read about that Partygate? What's happening?
Basically, it was saying, it's a Guardian article published yesterday that I was just talking about the fact that a lot of it says there's about 70 MPs in the Conservative Party that 12 of which, or 24 of which are former ministers that want to hand in letters of no confidence.
Yeah. Out of how many people? 350.
Yeah, so I mean, so far, so it won't do anything because you need 50. Basically, you can trigger a leadership contest if 15% of MPs in that party write letters of no confidence. Actually, it would, because it's 54. It's saying here it's 15% of the amount of MPs is 54. So if all these 70 people hand in their letters, then it could trigger a vote of no confidence.
And what happens if that gets triggered?
Basically, then, well, then they'd have to enter. Then, like once they've reached that 15%, there's a vote of confidence in the party leader, which all the MPs had to do, and then if they win the majority, you can't trigger another vote of no confidence for 12 months.
Oh,
and
it's a big event.
Theresa May, they tried this with Theresa May, but she won her vote of no confidence, which is why she only ended up leaving when she resigned. But if Boris loses the vote or chooses to resign, because he can just resign before then
he came out saying he won't resign.
Yeah, the thing is with him, he's too keen to cling on to his career. So
well, he's just so self-centered, isn't he?
Yeah. But I feel like now he can't give it. There's nothing more for him to give. He may as well just leave. His reputation already damaged. So him leaving, even though he'll be known as like the prime minister that had a really short premiership, it still won't. Like I don't think his reputation can be tainted even further. It's already so bad.
Yeah, like I don't really follow politics that much, but my dad does, said he is terrible.
He really is, and he
Has
actually
no character,
he
no
got
dignity. He's just
no,
sly
and
and
he got
deceitful.
his like career is built online because when he
Well,
worked,
yeah,
I can't
exactly.
remember which paper he worked at, but he got fired for making up figures, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I know he used to write for the Telegraph.
I think it was before he worked there. Try and find it.
Hmm. But yeah, it's interesting. But with Boris, think of when he became prime minister. He became prime minister pushing pushing a Brexit, encouraging people to vote for Brexit on the back of just a lie about like the 350 million extra to the NHS a week. Like that was all just a complete lie. And that's how he came into power. You know, he wanted Brexit to go his way so he could move into the position to go for it. But don't you think it's kind of bizarre how, you know, that stuff you were telling me, explaining about votes of no confidence?
Yeah,
What percentage of the British population, of the adults, do you think understand all of that?
almost zero. But it's
Five?
quite easy to. It's quite easy to if you actually read. Here it explains it really easily or understandably. Back to the thing about his journalism, he said he wrote for the Times and was fired shortly after for making up a quote in a story about Edward II.
That's not
But he
brilliant.
also, yeah, he wrote for the Telegraph as well.
Because
And he was making up lies about the EU apparently.
on an old Top Gear, he was the guest, and he at the time he was still mayor of London. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was doing a campaign, and the mayor of on his face was on the back of buses saying, "Changing gear at lower revs, you know, reduces emission and helps the environment." And then a week later, Top Gear found in the Telegraph he was writing a review on a Ferrari, saying you need to let the engine rev to at least 7,000 RPM.
Yeah, he
That is unintelligent behavior, isn't it? It's such lack of discipline. But do you want to know the thing I find interesting about the so-called party gate, when, you know, everyone found out that they're having a party? Here's the thing: when does that date back to?
this is what I've been saying. I find it weird that it people that this has only come to light now.
Yeah,
Like
so
almost
someone's
2 years.
had that. Someone's had that information and been sat on it the whole time.
I feel like
See my point?
maybe it's been tactical and someone released it hoping to undermine Boris now, but I'm not sure.
Well,
I've been trying to figure out why is it now?
do you know what I
But I
think?
think it,
Mm.
what
My take on why it's now is that the person that had that information, the government knew they had that information but weren't releasing it to the press. So what is information like that over the leading organization that's running a country? It's a lot of power. I'm not saying whether people did blackmail, but that is certainly
yeah,
the
it
kind of
could be
information you can blackmail people for, to get your policies pushed through, to get certain
maybe.
legislation.
And it's the same with the Matt Hancock thing. That footage just magically came into being, and they
Uh-huh.
had like the perfect angle and the perfect footage.
Well, you have to think how many more of those hidden cameras are in there. But to be honest, even though what he was doing is bad, I think it's a far worse issue that we didn't like. Which paper came out with it? Like the Sun had footage of it. So, like,
Yeah.
if you think the Sun can have footage of it, like, do you think the Chinese might be able to sneak a few cameras in? Like, do you know what I mean? It's a big security breach.
Well, there was that story about that Chinese lawyer who was trying to infiltrate
Yeah, he thought she
the
was a
government.
spy. Well, she is a spy, basically.
She was like trying to befriend MPs and influence them. But I think a lot of like the Partygate thing, I think it's morally wrong for him to have done this, but I think the anger's directed in the wrong place. I think the anger should be directed on the fact that we went into these lockdowns on false modeling and faulty modeling, and a lot of the reasons given for lockdown turned out to be inaccurate, and they ended up causing more harm than good. And the long-term impacts were never assessed. They were just done. Like the lockdown was just done anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we'll have another one.
I don't. I used to think I thought there'd be one around Boxing Day, but what I worry about is I feel like the reason the rules have been taken back is because of Boris wants to save his career and wants to gain
for sure.
So,
they started changing the rules immediately after this all came out. Like 2 days later, they went for a big coach.
And what I'm worried about is if, let's say, there's a leadership election and there's like someone else like gets elected in his party that's more in favor of rules, then we'll go back to having all these rules. And I know Starmer wouldn't get elected because it wouldn't trigger a general election, but let's say he got into power, like theoretically, he's missed a lockdown, so he would just impose all kinds of rules. But luckily, I don't think he will get out into power. It would be so difficult for them to do a general election. It wouldn't happen. I think a lot of people I think a lot of Labour supporters hope there'd be a general election, but it doesn't. It wouldn't. The Parliament doesn't function in a way that would allow that to happen.
It doesn't have to be in like 3 years' time or something.
Yeah, they can't do too many.
We had a crazy period when we had like 3 or 4 in a short period of time.
The next one's in 2 years.
Oh, 2 years, is it?
Yeah, the next one's in 2024. But I mean, a lot of things change very quickly in politics, so I don't know. Maybe there could be one before then.
Have you seen the Boston Dynamic robots in the new videos? They're not like super.
Is that? I think so. Is that the one pulling all those weird facial expressions?
What was that?
Is that which robot is it? The one?
1 sec. Type in Boston Dynamics robot and you'll be able to find them. If you type in on YouTube, have a look. Okay, wait, let me send you on WhatsApp. I've got the video. This robot does parkour and then does a backflip, and the robot's like human size and it can do backflips. It's doing some pretty tricky.
This, I haven't seen this video, but I've seen this. Yeah, it looks, the way they move is so like
creepy,
fluid that it looks animated.
Yeah, it's like, have you seen the backflip at the end?
And it has such good grip as well because it's doing things at an angle.
The thing is, though,
have you seen the dog one? Like
the dog. What's he called?
That's worrying.
Yeah, it is scary. Ever since that Black Mirror episode,
they keep emulating Black Mirror and all these billionaires,
well,
like the metaverse.
Yeah, that's the thing. Didn't the director of Black Mirror say it's scary how close to reality it is now?
Yeah, because it's meant to, but he does a lot of satirical things. So he was kind of not predicting it, but he was indicating that those things could happen. But I think it's good to develop these things, but I know they'll be used for
bad,
malicious purposes, let's say.
Yep. The thing that
those robots could, like, you can get really good robots for people that have mobility issues, like a skeleton.
Oh, that's true. They build like the exoskeleton things.
But these will probably be used to, I don't know, fight wars and stuff.
Well, yeah. There's this article in the Times a wee while ago, which I saved, and it was exactly about that. Army recruits its first robotic dogs of war. That was the news title.
Yeah, I can see that having good uses, but at the same time, imagine like, I don't know, someone gets hold of that and just starts using it for their own.
You think how hard it would be to kill if they make bulletproof robot dogs.
Oh yeah, and it'll probably be able to withstand bombs to some degree. Obviously not completely.
I think bombs will take it apart, because bombs can mess up tanks as well. But it's just like handguns or like civilian situations, because that's the thing they don't really show you, is how strong these robots are. Their strength will be unbelievable. It'd be like,
and they'll have weapons on them, which is
I don't think it's going in the right direction. I don't think it's a good idea.
I think countries like China and maybe even European countries eventually will just start using this against their population. Like
what did I see? Some company is using them for security already.
The problem is, I think a lot of people are scared of them becoming sentient, but I'm not sure how.
Okay, read this article I'm sending. Check your WhatsApp. It is crazy. A number of four-legged robot dogs have been deployed in the workforce for applications like inspection, security, and safety, among others. Where is it? I'm trying to find the location.
What?
The robotic dog industry is going to boom, though. Have you found where it is?
No, I'm trying to. The Electric and Gas Utility Company National Grid uses a quadruped
The inspections.
Massachusetts. That's where they're using them.
Okay, here we go. US Air Force, which is using Ghost robots, Division 60 robot, to do security patrol around several of its bases.
It's like science fiction.
So they got
real
robot dogs.
I wonder how long it will be until like these things become a lot cheaper and more widespread and like integrated into like everyday life. Like if you go to, I don't know, a shop and it will be a robot. And they have that in like Japan and places, but I wonder how long till here they have it here, or like in factories until it's all done by robots, or a mixture between people and robots. Like deliveries, Amazon deliveries will probably be done by robots in our lifetime.
Oh yeah, in our lifetime, easily.
If the car is driverless, you could just have the car going round and then just have a robot that just puts it at the door.
They brought up a good point on the old Top Gear when Clarkson was at it. With these driverless cars, they're going to be in certain situations when they can calculate if the car is going to keep on its normal collision course, it's going to kill the driver, or if it swerves, it could kill another driver, like could kill a pedestrian or a cyclist. But it would do that at the cost of killing its own driver. Therefore, some of these driverless things are going to have to decide whether to kill and protect their own driver or not.
Yeah. I did like at uni when I was doing some philosophy related module. I did like a bit on this. It's called the trolley problem, and you have to like, it's like a train on a track, and you basically the problem is you've probably seen it. If you pull the lever, like it could kill 5 people or 1 person depending on which way you direct it. So it's kind of like that, because as you said, in some situations it will have to kill someone,
which is
but then you can get it, but then you could argue that happens with humans driving, but then you could then, to respond to that, you could say that a robot shouldn't be given that much responsibility.
Exactly,
because you can't incriminate you can incriminate the company, but you can't bring a robot to justice unless it was sentient. I don't think we'll have sentient robots for a very long time.
I think we might, but the situation is, isn't it, with the problem, it's a moral problem. There's an out of control train and it's heading for 5 workers and it'll kill them all, they haven't heard it. But if the guy on the bridge pulls the lever, it'll go down the alternative track that only has the 1 worker. So is killing 1 better than killing 5? And if he does that, like, is he a murderer?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when I think there was a recent story about a driver that ran over a murderer, and I think there's a petition now to free them, because I think they got charged, the driver, but it's kind of similar to that.
But yeah, did he run over the murderer on purpose?
Yes.
And was he murdering at the time, like, or did he murder?
I think he was before? Well, I think I didn't see the full story, but I think he must have been, because I mean, if they did it after, that would be interesting. It'd be a different. Yeah,
it'd be that's
if
what
they
I'm
knew
leading towards.
If they knew they killed them, but yeah, I think these cars. But also, they're also talking about having like smart motorways and smart everything, which is
we already have smart motorways. Those, those things on the gantries above that tell you what speed, and they change the speed limits like whenever they want. Yeah, those are smart motorways we already have. But it's coming out now that loads of the studies claiming they're safer and help traffic flow weren't actually that accurate, and sometimes it makes it worse. But the problem I have with it is that whoever's behind it, which like whoever's controlling it, can just change the speeds on motorways whenever they want. And now, like recently, they've started writing like loads of different messages up on the boards as well, like telling us about stuff. Like, I think it's too much control.
And also, I think they'll just.
And I like to drive fast.
Well, yeah, a lot of this is about control, because if let's say it's connected to the internet in the future, and your car's connected to the internet, they'll be able to check your speed and like what you're doing.
Well,
things like that.
In Japan, cars are already limited. Cars with these sophisticated sat navs are already limited to certain speed limits on public roads. But it's not the actual speed limit, which is weird. It's something like, wait, what? Yeah, all cars are limited to 112 miles an hour on the public road. Yeah, most Japanese domestic market vehicles are limited to 112 miles an hour.
That's interesting.
Mate, I actually need to get going, to be fair. I need to go to work, so.
Well, see you later then.
Yeah, wraps up. All right, nice one. Right, let me just stop.